You are listening to Unscripted Moments, a podcast about propaganda. On this episode, we are discussing The Days You Hate Yourself, track 14 on the Failed States Deluxe Edition from Epitaph Records. The song was recorded at the Blasting Room during the supporting cast sessions. The song was not included on the record for reasons that will be explained shortly.
You know, it really is a shocking thing to me to discover that The Days You Hate Yourself, which appears on the Failed States Deluxe Edition, was not made for the Failed States LP at all. So that is such a huge little trivia tidbit that really excited me about this particular song whenever I got into it. But, you know, Steve, I've been thinking about Failed States the last couple of days while preparing for this, and the last Failed States episode that I did was like a big one, like a real numbered song
Yeah.
episode, was Keith's last episode, which was number 79, where we did like 3 hours on Note to Self. But that episode came out in June of 2022. And it is crazy to me to think about these three Failed State songs: Cognitive Suicide, Unscripted Moment, and The Days You Hate Yourself, just lingering for a year and a half, completely untouched, while the podcast has gone on at its normal rate of production ever since. So, Failed States has accidentally become sort of like a black hole, forgotten aspect of this podcast, as you and I have hustled to finish up episodes for, Potemkin City Limits, and doing all those episodes on how to clean everything, and finishing up Let's Talk More Rock. This this album sort of became our, as co-hosts, overlooked detail. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. It's kind of funny how that just happened. Like we went pretty hard on how to clean last year.
We did.
I
I'm
feel
really
like
glad it's over.
my I feel like my first like 5 or 6 episodes were just all how to clean ones. And I thought it was kind of like a little bit of a punishment for me joining the show because it's my least favorite record. And we were just focusing only on my least favorite record, just constantly.
Yeah. But how proud are you of all those How to Clean Everything episodes that we made? Because I personally am absolutely thrilled by our How to Clean Everything output last year. Like that 30th anniversary episode we did, the Stick to Flag episode is fantastic. The Who Will Help Me Bake This Bread episode is awesome. Like I am so delighted by how well we did with the How to Clean Everything episodes last year.
Yeah, I'm super jazzed about it too. Honestly, it made me kind of have like a newfound appreciation for the record, being able to go through it. I mean, it's still my least favorite one, but it definitely it was nice to go through it. Like the I think the Who Will Help Me Bake This Bread was my first episode,
Yeah,
if
it
I'm not
was.
mistaken. And then was it Stick the Flag was one that we did recently. So it's kind of
Yep.
like cool to have it, the year bookended with two how to cleans like that. So but
Yeah.
we really kind of dropped the ball here because we're doing this episode today and it's January 2024. Had we put this off
Yeah.
for 6 more months, it could have been a 2 year void of failed states on the pod. But
I know. I'm hoping that we get around to Cognitive Suicide, because obviously the show has to, hold off on doing Unscripted Moments until the end, for obvious reasons. That's kind of how I personally envision it. But with Cognitive Suicide, I feel like we can knock that one out before June of 2022, and do exactly two Failed States episodes in 2 years. So one a year. We're like producing now at the level of like a propaganda album release cycle.
I love it. I think let's do that one definitely before June.
Yeah, sounds good. And Failed States to me is so connected to Keith, who I started the show with as the original co-host, because this was his favorite record. Failed States is how I found Keith on Twitter, because he had the Failed States artwork as his like Twitter banner artwork for a long time. And so that's how he and I kind of started connecting on Twitter. And he's like, "Yeah, that's my favorite record." And so I reached out to Keith yesterday, and I was like, "Keith, I realize that I've never done a Failed States episode without you. And every time we get to Failed States now, I'm going to reach out to you and get a comment." So I made Keith listen to The Days You Hate Yourself yesterday, yesterday, and he sent me a comment. And so I'm going to read Keith's commentary so that he can be included on every Failed States episode that this podcast ever does.
Amazing.
So Keith said, apparently I'm pretty bad at keeping up with B-sides, alternative tracks, and outtakes because I have no active memory of listening to this song, which is a total dingus error on my part. My initial thought during my first listen is that I understand why they cut it simply because I have listened to Failed States so many times and this is so new to me and I can't think of where it would fit. However, I'm not sure I still think it fits. However, I'm not sure I still think that having played it a few times, I love the metallic edge that borders Todd's older hardcore tracks and his newer, almost proggier stuff. I love this blasting drums, dual vocals, and razor sharp and fast riffs. Also, the lyrics eerily reference a lot of what I've been thinking about lately, at least how I interpret them. I'm sure Todd is talking about a variety of things, but the voyeuristic, self righteous tendency to dogpile on people online or to feel good about awful videos of people doing not good things has been on my mind. And the tendency to trounce and feel good about not good things really bums me out. I'm sure Todd is referencing more important stuff than, say, viral Karen videos, but for me, it fits. And then I had to inform Keith that this song was not actually recorded for Failed States at all, that it was recorded for supporting cast at the blasting room during the supporting cast sessions and then left off the record for reasons that Todd will explain in the interview that's to come. But he said, "Oh, well, then that first part, keep the first part and then just change out the album name because I definitely can't tell where it would go on supporting cast." So there were Keith's comments. He's connecting it to some stuff he's noticing about the habits of terminally online people on the way that our culture has devolved into such a chaotic online pandemonium. Um, to Todd, I don't think that's what the song is about at all, but it was neat to see Keith's interpretation of what he's thinking about in his life right now and connecting it to the lyrics.
That's awesome. I love a good Keith take.
Absolutely. Keith is always welcome here. People sometimes ask me, "Hey, have you heard from Keith lately?" Yeah, I text him all the time. Like we're buds. We're buds for life because like we've done a lot of amazing things together, and I'm so glad that our relationship is still strong. But Steve, what is generally your Failed States context for how it fits in your life? Tell me a little bit about this record and where it fits for you.
So, Failed States is an album that when it came out, I wasn't really listening to. Like, when it came out, I gave it the pass through. I liked it, but I never really spent a lot of time with it just because I was listening to different stuff more or less in my life. Like my relationship with the band was definitely flowy over that time because when it came out, I was very much pretty much just focusing on power metal
Mm,
as I do most of the time.
yeah,
But uh, but this is an album that over the years has really grown on me just because it is such a ripping album.
it really is. It's like this and today's Empires, Tomorrow's Ashes to me have like a heaviness to them that is standalone as far as like the discography goes. Like this one is just so pummeling and relentless. And it's arguably heavier than today's Empires, Tomorrow's Ashes because Todd's vocal delivery is so much more intense in the Failed States era songs. Like they're intense on today's Empires, but they're way more powerful on a Failed States type of
Yeah.
thing than on when he's like singing in like way higher registers and kind of shrieky on today's Empires. On this one, he's more booming. Does that make sense too?
Oh no, this is Todd's time to shine because at the end of the day, we're all fans of Todd songs. Todd
Mm-hmm.
songs are I feel like especially on this record, they take it from like an 8 to like a 10 in terms
Mm-hmm.
of like intensity and just that forward drive. Like they push the album forward from
Yeah.
is kind of what I get from them.
Yeah.
Um, I,
What's
I, I just love Todd stuff.
Yeah, no, this is a great Todd record too. Even though we know this one wasn't recorded for failed states, like the intensity of Todd on failed states is fantastic. Hadron Collision is a delight. Rattan Cane is so heavy and incredible. Cognitive Suicide is just like a mind bender of like time signatures and like really intense like social commentary. So this is a great one, and I'm really delighted that we're getting here. But maybe we should just catch up for a little bit, Steve. It's been about a month since you and I've gotten to hang out for the Stick the Flag episode, and I'm just curious what's going on in your life.
Well, I think we need to just first address the elephant in the room here, which if anyone listening is part of our wonderful Discord community,
Yes.
um, they would know that Greg and I are currently in a period of mourning,
Yeah. I've accepted it though.
uh, because we're just dealing with the Buffalo Bills being eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah, like, and I hate to say it, but like I always knew it was going to happen. Like I turned on that game and I was just 100% expecting a loss. And you're on the receiving end of my constant doom texting throughout the games, and I just can't help it. I want to be more positive. You are the positive one. I'm just like, yeah, of course that happened.
And the hilarious part about it is that like if you were to like ask literally anyone that spends any amount of regular time with me and you were to tell them that, hey, Steve's being the positive one, they would be like, no, man, you're crazy. Steve
Yeah.
doesn't do that.
Yeah, I am way, way far in the other end. I believe that the Bills will go 0 and 17 next season, out of the gate. I think that they are never going to win again. That's my default position.
I think that this year was such a heartbreak
Hmm.
that it's bound to turn around. And like I just want to be clear right here on the record that I do not blame Tyler Bass for anything that happened. I think Tyler
No.
Bass is a wonderful person. He's an amazing
Yeah,
kicker. It was just really like it was very difficult circumstances that kick was taking place in, and absolutely no one should blame Tyler Bass for that kick missing.
I agree. Well, and if you think about the completely perfect passes that Josh Allen was dumping onto Stephon Diggs in that deep one where it just went right through Diggs' hands, it was perfectly placed. That one should have been caught. There was a play where James Cook had a pass that just bounced off his hand like 1 yard from the end zone. That one should have been caught. And I know that they did go on to score in that James Cook drop drive, but that that play should not have had to happen in the first place. It should have been a slam dunk. So Josh Allen was giving people slam dunks all night long and failing to execute. So there is no way that Tyler Bass should be held accountable because all Tyler Bass was going to do was just tie the game with 90 seconds to go. And then Patrick Mahomes, whose offense had been driving down the field in 4 or 5 plays, going like 80 yards in 4 or 5 plays, there is no way that with 3 timeouts, the Kansas City Chiefs would not have made that final touchdown or at least like gotten into field goal range with their absolutely phenomenal kicker, Harrison Butker. So there is no way that Tyler Bass caused that loss because the defense was Swiss cheese all night long and full of holes, and Mahomes had their number 100% of the time. So the Bills were losing that game regardless of Tyler Bass missing that field goal.
Like I've been a big Tyler Bass guy for a few years now. Like I'm like Bass hole number one.
Sure.
And I'd feel bad. Like people online were ragging on him, but man, I like the offense should have got a touchdown on that play. Like it should never even have come down to him having to kick a 50-yard field goal in the swirling wind
Yeah.
on like a
And
frozen ground. Like that should have never happened.
no, and if people don't have never been to Buffalo, the wind here is different than almost anywhere. Because of the proximity of the stadium where the Bills play to Lake Erie and the fact that there are two Great Lakes that converge right at Buffalo, like Lake Ontario to the north, Lake Erie to the west. This is like not a simple place to exist as far as like wind goes. Like I'm a cyclist, so I ride thousands of miles a year on the roads in Buffalo, and I ride into a headwind 85% of the time, which should not seem possible. But with the proximity of multiple Great Lakes in one spot, uh, Buffalo is like a pain like paradise if you are into pain and wind and suffering. So Buffalo is a really particular place. So there's no way that Tyler Bass should be held accountable. So yes, I am with you 100%, and thank you for saying it on the record because it matters, because people were sending him apparently threats and harassing him and things like that, which is completely ridiculous whenever you think about the fact that it's a child sport that causes multiple lifelong brain injuries and ruins people's bodies physically forever, which is one of the most complicated aspects of liking that sport in the first place, is just how much it ruins people. So, yeah, the fact that people would take something that's so insanely dangerous and, threaten somebody over a child's sport is disgusting beyond belief.
And as I just slight transition, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about it, but slight
That's
transition.
fine.
Um,
Rant
the
over.
unfortunate and unfounded hate that's been put towards Tyler Bass for that kick situation. I would like everyone to redirect that hatred towards Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Oh, okay, cool. Tell me a little bit about this. You've been following this story out of the WWE pretty closely, haven't you?
I have because, as everyone knows, I'm a huge wrestling dude, and I've used to watch WWE religiously, but I haven't since AEW has existed. So I've been pretty happy over there. But what came out this week in a lawsuit against Vince McMahon, that he is like the most garbage person,
Mm,
like absolute, like not no. The crazy part about this is nobody is surprised.
yeah.
There's zero surprise. And I think that should be the thing that everyone takes away from this, is that how are we all just like, yeah, well, of course. And everyone is okay with that. It's
Hmm.
crazy. Like if you don't know what's going on, just search Vince McMahon lawsuit online. There's 87 pages and it's all like horrific stuff. He needs to be in prison
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah. What's interesting about the United States is we currently find ourselves in an inexplicable era. Maybe it's always been this way, but where a person can be exposed as a violent sexual assaulter, and it only improves their standing in society, and in fact makes them a viable candidate for the presidency of the country. So we're in an era that is so troubling to me with regards to how sexual assault seems to actually cause people to be benefited, and I'm at a loss for how to even talk about it, because it just seems like such an obvious thing that that should not be the case. And yet, if I believe the evidence in front of my eyes, it does seem to be the case that it benefits people who get exposed publicly as being violent sexual assaulters, and then it helps them. I don't have an answer for that, truly.
Yeah, it's like he was creating storylines that were basically depicting the things that he was doing in real life, like forever.
Mm,
And everyone just kind of like, you watch it and you're like, oh, well, it's just a story. No, like he was literally that piece of garbage behind the scenes. And it makes me sick to my stomach that, of, of, to think of all of the other women out there that most certainly have been through a similar situation at his hands,
hmm.
because the stuff that came out in the lawsuit was him at 70 years old. Are you trying to tell me that he only developed this behavior at 70 years old when
No,
he's
there's
been a
no way.
horrific person his whole life?
Yeah, there's no way. So whenever you think about uh the story from last year where a very prominent pro-feminist punk rock musician was exposed as being very problematic and violent in that regard as well. And then what you see is like a cascade of people who come forward and share their own experiences. So I would imagine that there is a lot more yet to come on that story with Vince McMahon. So I'd imagine if people keep an eye on that story, that'll keep coming out too.
Between that and there are probably going to be a lot more stories coming out, thanks to the seemingly, albeit tardy, conclusion by the London Police Department.
I don't know about this. What's going on with
Was it's
London?
was from the Team Canada World Junior, the five players who were part of the assault.
Mm.
I'm, anyways, that the five players all have now left their teams and are en route to London to turn themselves in.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah,
Okay. Oh man, that's pretty surreal as well.
yeah. Well, because it was like it happened so long ago, and everyone thought they were just kind of covering for the hockey players and stuff. But we'll see if anything actually comes of it. But
Yeah.
they're en route to London.
Well, any positive things going on in addition to the mourning of the Buffalo Bills failure and the Vince McMahon news? Anything good?
I mean, we built a Murphy bed last week, which I'm pretty jazzed about.
Dude, it's awesome. You sent me a picture of that. That's insane.
Yeah, we're pretty happy with it. But I feel like you've been to some shows. If you want to just give us like a recap of the shows, did you go to the space show at the Italian restaurant?
I wasn't able to.
Oh,
I had a back injury for over a month where I hurt my I pulled a muscle in my upper back and it was extremely debilitating. It was right around Christmas time. And then in the days that my upper back was strained, I was having so many mobility issues with sciatica shooting into my legs and stuff that my
oh,
balance was off center. And so I was having these problems. And then because I was so out of whack balance wise, I actually wound up injuring my lower back. I had a disc that kind of went haywire for several days. So I went from having an upper back injury to a lower back injury. And the Spaced show was exactly on one of the days when my lower back was in so much excruciating pain that I just couldn't physically do it. So I missed the Spaced show. But I did see the Thursday Rival Schools Many Eyes show that happened in Buffalo the other day.
I saw that, and oddly enough, a friend of the show, Mandy, was there too.
Mandy was there. Mandy crashed at my house after the show. So it was great to see Mandy as always. And my friends Stu and Jamie Lynn and my girlfriend Patrina were there, and we hung out and had a wonderful time. And it's always great to be at a show with friends. You know, it's just such a wonderful thing to be a transplant to a city in your mid 30s and find your people and be able to go to shows and be together and feel as if this is a place that you actually live and belong, even though you're not originally from there. So I'm just full of gratitude for my little show group that was there the other night, and it's so great when Mandy comes to town too. And you know, because it's great because I met Mandy through the show. So hi, Mandy.
And I absolutely, hi, Mandy. And the show's at Town Ballroom, the best venue around.
They're the best. Yeah, the sight lines are absolutely flawless. It's got the perfectly tiered levels system. It's almost to the point to where if there's a reasonably sizable show in Buffalo that isn't in town ballroom, like I don't even want to go because the tickets are going to be the same price, and I know that the height difference between my girlfriend and I is pretty extreme. So finding spots where we can both see, we never struggle to both see the show at town ballroom, but we do struggle at other venues. But the tickets are the price. The tickets are always the same price, and they're always expensive at the other venues too. Um, but yeah, you know, we've got some other stuff coming up. I think we're going to the Avenged Sevenfold show at KeyBank Center. I think we're gonna go see Bush this summer with Jerry Cantrell and Candlebox. Trying to think of what else I got coming up, but I'm gonna probably go see Municipal Waste in a couple of weeks here at Rec Room in Buffalo. So there's some stuff in the works, man.
Yeah, I believe you're forgetting the most important show
Oh,
of the
Blind
year
Guardian in
on
May.
May 9th.
Yeah, Blind Guardian with you. It's gonna be the best.
I think we might have to do like a special episode surrounding that because yeah, so we'll see them May 9th in Toronto, and then May 10th I'm going to see them in Montreal with Alicia.
Well, oh, sweet. Right on. That rules. Well, what we'll do whenever I come up for Blind Guardian is I'll bring my portable field recorder with some mics, and we'll do an episode together, just walking around before the show. So we'll have a good time. We'll make something special for the listeners on that one, and we'll get some in the wild reporting, if you will. Sound
Let's
good?
and we should absolutely do a we just walked out of the show instant
Instant
thoughts
reaction.
because I think your life is going to change that night.
I believe it. I am so excited for some power metal live, and I'm delighted that you made me aware of this show and just kind of said, Greg, you're doing this. We're doing this together. You didn't really give me a choice, and I'm delighted that there was no choice in the matter. So it's going to be a great time, man.
I can't even wait.
Well, I've got a really good surprise for this episode. If you would like to hear about what I did for this episode.
I would love to.
So Todd Kowalski, the writer of The Days You Hate Yourself, is on the episode. Um,
That's unbelievable.
and it's great.
What
And
are
you
the
know what?
chances?
I know this is what his like eighth time on the show now. Like wow, what a shock. Todd's here.
Todd's been
Um,
on more than I
but
have.
maybe, yeah. But Todd is obviously the writer of The Days You Hate Yourself. For any discerning listeners out there with a keen ear for riffs, you know that the music of The Days You Hate Yourself was repurposed for Failed States and became the song Rattan Cane. So The Days You Hate Yourself is left off of supporting cast. The riffs get rearranged and moved around and morphs into what becomes Rattan Cane, which is a crowd favorite live to this day. So even though The Days You Hate Yourself no longer exists as an active song in Propaganda's catalog, its spirit lives on in
It lives on
Rattan Cane.
today. It lives on right here today.
Dude, absolutely. And I mean, I've seen Propaganda play 6 times since October 2021, and they've played Rattan Cane at probably 4 of those 6 shows. So this is a very active tune in their live repertoire. So Todd, what I interviewed him in November of 2023 about the writing process for the forthcoming eighth Propaganda LP, which there was a studio video posted the other day with Chris and Jord talking about reading glasses on Propaganda's Facebook from Privateer Studios in Winnipeg. So there is actual things happening with this band related to an eighth LP. The future is bright, people. But I also interviewed Todd about The Days You Hate Yourself and Incalculable Effects, and I split those interviews across 3 episodes. The first one appeared as like a in conversation with Todd Kowalski. It's like a short 25-minute one from November of 2023. And then you and I did the Incalculable Effects episode where we also included Todd's interview. And then this one is I've been holding on to until we did this song. Um, but Todd told me some details about this tune that I didn't know, and that made me go to genius.com and add some annotations to some incorrect information that is published online about the recording process for this tune.
Not
So,
not so genius.com now, right?
yeah, I am geniusifying genius.com by adding the actually accurate information. So, thank you to Todd for always being willing to come on the show and entertain my whimsical invitations. Me a ton. This is the last part of a 3-part interview that I did with Todd from November 2023. So check out my conversation with
Before
Todd in just
before
a
before
second.
before we get into this, Todd, you
Yeah.
mentioned they posted a studio video.
Oh yeah.
Do you think this record will come out before we finish all the episodes?
I do. Yeah.
You do?
I do. Which is fine. I don't care. But here's my thought about this. And I know that we're going off track again, which is fine. I don't care. Um, that's kind of the beauty of an episode about a forgotten song is that it doesn't matter what we do. We answer to no one, listeners out there. Steve and I answer to no one. I think that when a new record comes out, I don't feel as if I will be comfortable dissecting the songs until a certain amount of time has passed. You know what I mean? If we think about when we started this show, it was middle of 2020. Failed States was, or I mean, Victory Lap was already
Yep.
like 2.5 years old or something at that point. Time had passed, right? Before we started talking about any of the songs. So I do want to do some like immediate, whoa, this is so cool kind of episodes, but I feel as if they will be very surface level
Yeah.
comments, where we can do some reaction videos and or some reaction episodes and maybe get some members of the band on and talk about some of their favorite stuff with relation to a new record. But as far as like big episodes, like if I think about like our 3 hour deep dives,
Yeah. It'll be hard to do.
those are going to take some time, because I would like to do that. That's kind of the coolest thing about this show is that if a band offers new material, you can keep a show like this going in perpetuity. Um,
It'll be just
but
interesting because there hasn't been, you know, that kind of level of new material since the show's existed. So
I
it would
know
just be like a really unique thing. It'd be cool.
exactly. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I do think that we've got like 10 or 12 more songs that
Oh,
are on
that's
my
like four
list.
years. That's like 4 years.
I know. And like our rate right now is like one a month kind of the thing, like compared to like the four a month I used to do back when I started this crazy thing. Um, so I do think that we'll see a new LP before you and I are like done with all the
Yeah.
songs. Because we still have like stuff from the demo tapes to do, like Support Gun Control, Kill a Hunter. We got to do an episode about that, man.
Oh yeah. I think the album will come out and we will still have about half of the things that we need to do. Like we might just get all the way up to everything but unscripted moments and then just be able to do that album in sequential order.
And then we do unscripted moment in like 3 years.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, well, let's hear from Todd about the days you hate yourself. It's a short one, it's about 17 minutes long. So Steve and I will see you on the other side. Thanks so much, Todd, for being here and enjoy. Todd, we got a couple of as you know, as we move towards the end, quote unquote end of the podcast, of covering every song. Uh we've got some of your tunes that I was eager to pick your brain on. And the first one I want to chat about is The Days You Hate Yourself, which is track 14 on the deluxe edition of Failed States. Tell me a little bit about what you remember about the writing and the creation of this one. Like when you were demoing it, any memories that jump back to you about this particular one and its creation?
The thing I remember the most is being down at blasting room and just kind of walking around listening to the song with these earbuds, trying to make the final phrasing and lyrics for the start of the song. Just like, fuck. Like, I just couldn't quite figure it out. I think that's why I wasn't on the, or no, supporting cast. Yeah, it was a recording of supporting cast that record was supposed to be on.
So this was supposed to be on the previous record, supporting
I was
cast.
supposed to be on supporting cast, yeah.
Oh, cool. Is there
Yeah.
So the demos go back to 2008, 2009 for this one?
I guess so, yeah.
Wow. Okay, keep going.
Oh yeah. So I remember walking through that field, like racking my mind, like just like, fuck, I just can't get just the first like little bit. Like I remember thinking this song's so rad, and I just can't get the start lyrics. And then, yeah, I guess I just couldn't do it, especially with everything else we were trying to do, you know? And then I guess we thought we'd save it. And then it's actually like we just kept playing it, and like the way we work, it ended up being Rattan King. Like it's all the same riffs. It's just I don't know if you can tell, but like,
Yep.
yeah.
So is the version that we hear on the Failed States Deluxe Edition, is that actually Bill Stevenson and Jason Livermore recording it, or is that a JP one? Did you guys do this one again
No,
later, or is this?
that's Bill and yeah, that's Jason and Bill. Yeah.
Okay, I had no idea that this one was actually Jason and Bill. That is really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did notice the Rattan Kane similarities. It's got like it's not exactly the same song, but it's got a very similar feeling and sentiment.
Yeah.
So how did the finalization process go? If you couldn't get it done in Colorado, how did it get done?
I think the vocals were done there in Colorado too. Like I think that's what we recorded down there, and then yeah, I think I was just like fuck unsure about the start and words. And then, like besides that, like I just listened to it and I was like, as soon as it's past the first like just little batch of words, from there on, I think it's killer, you know? So I guess I could do better. And then by the time I did better, it was a completely different song.
Huh. Okay. So tell me about its transformation with those riffs into Rattan Kane on the next record. How did that go?
I guess I just kept at the riffs and just made an entirely different song.
Amazing. Tell me what you feel about the performance of the other players on the song. George's performance on this one is bonkers. He's got blast beats, great fills. He's got a really thrashy, like 80s thrash style ride cymbal going on. Tell me a little bit about what you like about George, Chris, and Beav on this song.
Yeah, well, like when I was listening, you almost just feel disappointed. Like, that's fucking. Like if I could have just solved that one part better in that field, it'd be a killer song on that record, you know?
I mean, this is one of, I asked you a long time ago, I think, what if you thought that Rattan Kane was the heaviest Propagandhi song, and you're like, maybe it might be. So this one has that same stuff, like those guitar runs that are like really, really low, like like that stuff is really, really cool. How do you feel about, Chris and Beav on this one? Because I just love what they do.
Yeah, it's good. Sounds like they played it well. Yeah.
I love that it was Jason and Bill. That really kind of puts this into a new perspective for me.
Yeah.
I
like in the song how like too the vocals just get like so over the top for a couple seconds. So I kind of I enjoy that for some I don't really I kind of enjoy that sentiment when like the same with what's the other song? Oh yeah, Half Head, I like some parts in that where it's just it's just out of control, you know?
Yeah. We did the Half Head episode recently, and I actually talked about how you have one of my favorite Todd vocal moments ever is in Half Head, and it's those really wild, just out of control parts.
Me too. Yeah,
I'm really into that kind of stuff. I think that it's fun. It makes me smile, but it's also heavy, but it's also like partially hilarious. So I'm really into those moments. As long as you don't do it too often, I feel like those moments are so special when they're not overdone and they just kind of hit you out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like a whole record of it. There's this song, there's some song I heard. I don't know, maybe I told you this before. It's on I don't even know. I have some old record where this song is so fucking out of control. It's like I bring it out sometimes, and I sent it to Chris once, and he was like, "Oh, I thought the song would be more out of control," because I always am talking about it, you know. So, but I remember just hearing this band went so far, to make the most hyper song of all time, you know.
Yeah.
I just I think how could I not to their detriment, but I think Chris and George are almost too good to be that out of control.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like when I try to make a song like Half Head, like it's like I wouldn't say like it's a two in control, but it's like it's not as out of control because those two guys are in too much control. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
not to their detriment, because it probably makes it a punchier. It makes it a more listenable song, but it's less out of control. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this one for Jord is like one of the most wild, metallic, and chaotic performances of
Yeah.
any of your songs. I think that that this song, "Days You Hate Yourself," is one of the wildest Jord performances I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's disappointing to hear that it's just kind of lost in the shuffle.
I don't think it is,
I
though.
feel like I have that a lot, because like part of it I'm usually unsure of everything, you know. Part of it is like I can't complete my idea the way I quite want, you know. So I have like I can't even imagine how many songs I just have tossed like just in the bin, you know, like just like it's frustrating. I'm kind of like, yeah, I feel like I'm like learned my lesson a little bit now, you know, like so it's just chuck so much stuff, and yeah, it's just like, oh, what's the point? Like,
Well, something I'm really happy about is that even though this song sort of morphs into Rattan Kane on the next record, that you didn't have any, like, were there qualms about releasing it on the Failed States Deluxe Edition? Because I'm super happy it's there. I personally love minutia like that. Whenever you see how something gets adapted later,
yeah,
were you guys like enthusiastic to release it on the Failed States Deluxe Edition?
I guess so. Like I was probably happy to some people to hear it. Like I couldn't like we couldn't really record the vocals or anything, because it's just like I don't really feel like going that hard anymore, I suppose. Like
Yeah.
it's too much of a toll on me. Like you
Yeah.
know what I mean? But right, just I'm just doing something different. I still appreciate it, and I don't necessarily think trying to sing better is better. Sometimes, most of the time, it's a better choice, I would think. But
Yeah.
uh, you know what I mean? Like I'm not really into like shitty singing for the sake of quaint shitty singing, but every now and then it's like I like to hear someone just rip, you know, like Napalm Death and stuff.
Oh, yeah. As we've talked about before on this podcast, Barney from Napalm Death has the heaviest voice of all time. I have no idea
Yeah.
how he does it, but he is an absolute force of nature up there.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, to me, he's the best that have ever put their fucking lungs into the mic like that. Yeah.
I recently just saw Napalm Death for the first time and here in Buffalo, and I just could not believe what I was seeing watching him perform. And I was like, dude, you're like 53. How are you doing that? But he just, because if I did that, I would just like fall apart and like evaporate on stage in 2 seconds. But
yeah,
he just rips, man.
And like hundreds of shows for 30 years, like it's like you watch him, there's no peeping and like croaking and like, stop, I gotta have a water.
I know. Like I saw him open for Gwar, and the second Napalm Death left the stage, I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch Gwar for the heck of it. But like the show was over for me when Napalm Death left the stage. Like it was just there was no coming back from that.
Yeah, there's kind of no amount of costumes and blood can overdo Barney.
Yeah, I agree. Do you have any memories or thoughts about like the lyrics or any of the stories that inspired the lyrics to The Days You Hate Yourself at all?
I think just like the daily thinking about people I know, you know what I mean? Like, I think at some point, my dad was living in my basement too, like getting all wasted every day, and like I did take note, like, or it's just like, he starts getting drunk and mad at himself, and that brings out the worst in him, like about other people. Actually, I just passed this liquor store the other day, and I had a memory of my dad. He went up to this the guy was actually busking busking, I think. My dad goes up to him, he goes, "What's it like being a loser?" And I said, "You get in the truck And I said to the guy, don't listen to this guy. He's an alcoholic.
Oh man.
And then my dad just kind of laughs, gets in the truck, like it's like fucking, you know what I mean? Like I was dealing with that type of thing all the time. So like that's just one memory, you know what I mean? Out of like 100 million of those type of things. So it's like, I think for sure that like that was in my mind. Plus, like, seeing this, there's so many people like that, like it's not just him, and like,
Yeah.
like in his case, he's kind of trying to be funny to the guy, but like, it's like not that joke, man. Just like you out.
Right.
You gotta like, someone's gonna like. I've been in positions where he's like thinks he's gonna fight some guy, and I'm gonna back him up. I just leave him. Hey, you're there by yourself, buddy. Like you got yourself into this. Like, have fun.
Yeah, the last thing that you personally need is assault charges and things like that in your personal life, getting into situations that somebody else drags you into, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's stupid, yeah. Yeah, there's one time, we're on the street, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, he's walking towards these guys like he's gonna fight me. He thinks me and my brother are behind him, but we just like turn the corner and let him walk by himself. He's just standing there, he looks back like, holy shit, I'm by myself.
Oh man. Well, shout out to your brother who has been on the podcast before, which was a real thrill for me as well.
Yeah, he's funny.
Well, let's
all the things that you give, everything that you take, and the means that you use.
Thank you so much to Todd Kowalski from Propagandy, author and writer of this particular tune, The Days You Hate Yourself. Thank you so much to Todd, as always, and all members of the band for entertaining us and being involved in this show from the very beginning. It always means a ton to feature an interview with somebody from the band, so I'm just sending that gratitude right out to the world. So, Steve, let's talk about The Days You Hate Yourself. Hit me. What you got?
So I just want to start off by saying that no wonder they reused these riffs in another song.
Oh, they're great.
Like, this is such a ripping song.
Mm-hmm. You're a Todd. You're a Todd guy.
Todd guy. And the guitar work in the last half of the song, the way the song is just driving forward, and that like no, like that riff, I'm just like, it is just, I can feel it in here when I listen to this song.
Yeah, there's like that musical interlude part where there's no singing, and it's almost like plucked, like tuned way down, just like it really individualized notes, but it's super low. And oh my God, like that part just blows me out of the water too.
It is awesome. And like, I think it's, dare I say, underrated.
Oh, for sure.
I think the use of that riff in this song is awesome. I think for this song to kind of like, even though the music has been borrowed and sent somewhere else, I do think this song has its time and place.
Yeah, definitely. For me, the drums and the guitar riffs are pretty stellar. Really kind of unbeatable. If you think about a lot of the stuff from the band throughout the years, this is like peak skill for the technical performance from Chris and Jord and Beeve particularly. The drums that happen just in the first 5 seconds, it takes you through like 3 different styles of like drum playing, like in the first like 5 seconds. Like this is some of the wildest Jord drumming ever recorded, is just in the intro of this song,
and and just how the whole song he's able to keep up that pace and that intensity. Like
Yeah.
you can feel the intensity in his drum performance in this song. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. This is like whenever I think about some of George's craziest performances, I think about stuff like Mateka, Marisakun, Rasakan, Duplicate Keys, Ikaro has got some super insane stuff on it. And then you think about like the blasty stuff, like New Homes for Idle Hands and Ordinary People Do Fucked Up Things When Fucked Up Things Become Ordinary. This song is like in that realm of like Jordaness, but there's just something that's so metal about this song that some of those other ones aren't, where it's like, if I close my eyes and I like just like listen to this, like I can like see Jord like behind the set for like 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 Slayer, you know what I mean? Like whenever like Lombardo's just going full gas, just full speed ahead, like that to me is that kind of this kind of stuff.
And just shout out the production on this song. You can feel like the raw intensity in the recording too.
Yeah. Well, and it's Bill Stevenson and Jason Livermore too. Whenever we think about the production of Propaganda over the years, like I think about that one blasting room session for supporting cast as being like just such a flawless execution and performance, and how Bill and Jason uh did not take any imperfections like out of these performances for these guys. And so for me, this one, it really makes sense that it was recorded during supporting cast because it's just so tight and so perfect. And I mean, just unbeatable performance.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. And, uh, in the interview, Todd and I were talking about the chaos of this song, which listeners just heard that in the interview. And I love how Todd talks about how he wants some of his songs to be so just like almost like out of control, like how he really loves for there to be moments that are so bananas and like out of control. But he finds that Chris and Jord are so good at their instruments that it's like almost not possible for them to be out of control. So you get this song that's meant to be completely bananas and total chaos the entire time, but it's being played by two people that are so technically good in the moment that like it's meant to sound crazy, but it's so perfectly executed that it just straddles this fine line between where it's like they almost go off the rails, but the two guys are so good that they'll never let that happen.
It's like the perfect analogy for this song is when you're on a hill bomb on a skateboard and you start having like the speed wobbles. But like Chris and Jord are so good that they just never let the wobbles get so out of control that you still maintain that speed going down the hill.
Yeah, man. And it's just so funny too, because when Todd talks about the vocals, the last like two or three sentences that Todd sings in the song are just so unhinged as far as the vocal delivery goes, that there's like this like added bit of comedy at the end where Todd is just completely going, he's in like his Today's Empires uh state when he's recording like the last three lines, where he's like out of control, out of his range, going as hard as he can, and then the song is just so perfectly played, and then you have these like two or three lines in the end of the song that are sung in Today's Empire style, which are just absolutely hilarious.
I think the chaoticness of the vocals really just complement the insane guitar and drum performance.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's chat about some of these lyrics here. We've got the opening line: relive the words you heard spilling from your mouth. Taste that sickness once again. Pretense peels away. And I have some definitely some thoughts about some of these lyrics. So I'll tell you what I think, and then you can tell me what you think if you have any like reactions to what I say, or if you have
Yeah.
any additional thoughts to kind of go into your own context, because we can all only read these lyrics in the ways that we get. And I also was given the benefit of having an interview with Todd where he kind of told me a little bit about the song that he kind of like framed the way that I think about it in a way that maybe I'm missing something, right?
That's fair.
So, this is like maybe a verse about things we say in the heat of a moment of rage, possibly inspired by alcohol or drugs. Like Todd talks about the moments with his dad in the interview, but like everyone can think of moments where they say, like a married couple like fighting under the influence of an intoxicating substance, and they'll say things in that moment where there's like a chemical injection to where they'll say things they wouldn't normally say if that like chemical or intoxicant was not ever involved in the first place. Or like say a parent like creates an unsafe situation for a kid. Like I love the mention of pretense in this line too, because very often people are able to hold it together until certain things happen, like one too many drinks, where the filter for that pretense is just stripped away, right? And then the relive thing is about the consequences that come later. When something comes back to haunt or bite someone after saying something they may not have otherwise said. And then words that are toxic and hurtful can be what is meant by like tasking the sickness, toxicity, poison, whatever word works here. But to me, it's about saying something in the heat of a moment that is intentionally hurtful, but would not have otherwise been said had there not been like an intervening variable that removes pretense and removes the human filter. And then the next day, waking up and realizing the intensity of what actually happened and having to live with those consequences.
I think that's a pretty, I mean, not knowing, take the interview with Todd aside.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a very very accurate interpretation of how that goes. Like I definitely, I absolutely see that. And it just kind of makes you reflect as to how many people find themselves in these types of situations once the pretense peels away and things are said, or actions are taken or whatever by people in these situations. And it really makes you think that it just really makes you reflect about substance abuse issues and stuff like that on another level.
Yeah, and if we think about another Fat Records band, let's talk about No Use for a Name for a second. The song Justified Black Eye is about something similar where a guy does something to his partner and then wakes up the next day and comes crawling back all apologetic. It's the same kind of thing, and it's a little more spelled out in the No Use for a Name song than in this song. This song's a little bit more read between the lines. And you kind of have to have the personal connection with Todd to kind of make that connection, I think, because this is a very vaguely written song on purpose by design, I think. But it's kind of like the same kind of topic where it's like somebody does something hurtful, they wake up, they realize they've hurt a person that they love again, most likely, and then they are like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna change, I'm gonna change," and then nothing ever changes, and it's just a cycle that repeats for oftentimes years on end until somebody either gets extremely hurt or like they are able to do very difficult things such as moving on with their life. So that's what this first line's about to me.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, so we've got a little change in the riff here. So that first little this song is about riff transitions, right? That connect certain little passages to me. So when every time the riff changes, the song kind of moves into the next lyrical passage as well, which is really neat because it's not a super it's a very fast hardcore song, but it has these like little moments and these parts that are put together like a puzzle, that defy just the straightforward verse chorus kind of thing.
Well, it goes back to like the progginess that Keith talked about in his comments.
There you go. So the next line, exposed in anger, in tragedy, amidst our failure. Like I love the line amidst our failure because every human fails in some way every day in, day out for their whole lives.
We're all
Being,
losers.
being a human is all about failing and
Yep.
adjusting in the moment in so many ways. But it's when we make avoidable mistakes that often the darkest parts can get revealed, right? such as a person being out of control with an addiction or a situation that spirals. Then everyone starts looking at each other in a family when a tragedy occurs, right? And that like beating themselves up situation of what more could we have done? Where a family starts to like blame themselves for allowing a situation to persist, uh, beating themselves up about like how they didn't do enough. And oftentimes a group takes on and tries to process while accepting blame for things they shouldn't accept blame for because they are the victims. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and I think that's something that a lot of people forget about in that when dealing with substance abuse and stuff, like yes, it directly does affect the individual, but like the people close to them are tragically affected by it
Yes.
in so many like, you know, unseen ways.
Yeah. Well, in hearing the ways, Todd has commented about his father multiple times on the podcast, and anybody can go back and listen to those interviews that we've publicly published on this show. So this is not like a big surprise, but like I think about all the ways that he was there for the guy. You know what I mean? He kept being there for the guy, even though there was like huge problems in their relationship. So, it's kind of all about like what the people who are affected by choose to pursue in the moment, knowing that this other person is going to do things that are harmful, and then some days are going to be really good, and some days are going to be really bad, and choosing to engage in that, like it's a pretty common thing that I think that countless people in society deal with when having a relative or a very close friend who is doing self-destructive things, but still caring about that person enough to want to keep them like even if at arm's length involved in their life. Um, but it's hard to talk about. But when someone is self-destructing, I can see it being a very difficult process for that person's loved ones to get over trying to figure out if there was something they could have done differently to help avoid that situation. But that's just like hypothetical wishful thinking, that oftentimes is not super productive because it just takes on blame for something that they didn't cause for them a lot of times. I'm not saying that they never caused it, but I'm saying that it feels like more often than not, they wouldn't be the cause.
No, and I think this is a good opportunity to shout out to everyone who goes to therapy on a regular basis, and maybe let's encourage people if you're not. I think having someone to talk to is a very good thing, and you should maybe
Yeah.
consider it.
I recently resumed therapy. I took about a year and a half break to after my divorce finalized to buy a house, to move, to get settled in my new house. But I recently started again, and it feels good to resume that because then it means that whenever I'm having like really bad things like in my brain or whatever, I have somewhere productive to put those things that don't put a an unnecessary burden upon my loved ones. Um, and it helps me to like objectively get somebody to objectively help me process things, where their emotional state is not tied to my emotional state. Does that make sense? So it's like it's super helpful to do. So I'm just gonna throw a plug out there for pursuing therapy and counseling as well. If you've been thinking about doing it, definitely take the leap and see if you can do it.
There's affordable resources out there. There's some in Canada here where you can get it for as low as $25 a session.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, but everyone take care of yourselves.
Love it. Well, we've got another riff change into the next lyric. All the things that you do, everything that you say, all the paths that you choose. And this goes towards like the choices that people make along the way amidst struggle, right? During my divorce, I was drinking too much. Not like in a super self-destructive way, like I wasn't behaving unsafely like in public or anything like that. Like I wasn't like driving drunk or doing stuff like that. But like I felt a sense of toxicity as a person. Like there are times where I woke up and I didn't feel good after drinking too much the night before and going downstairs, looking in the mirror and seeing like an aged version of myself in the mirror. And those are very stark memories for me. Like being in my late 30s and being like, I felt like I was like looking in like my 50s. Um, and so honestly, making this show throughout that entire process of like that divorce was such a gift because like it gave me a place to talk about my life, my love of music. It kept me grounded. It kept me reading and writing and making notes. And it gave me a habit and a routine that I could do to like edit the show, publish a show, get the artwork done, book guests, book interviews. It kept me clicking
You're
as
task oriented.
it kept me disciplined. And like, I was like, if I would have stopped making the show and stopped like riding my bike or running during my divorce, I have no doubt that my life today would be significantly darker. Um, so my paths that I chose had elements of toxicity, but also elements of keeping me grounded. And thank goodness for those couple of things. And that's what this line made me think about is just like the past like 2, 3 years of my life, you know?
I I think that's awesome. Like your what you said based off of this lyric here was so beautiful. I'm not even going to contribute anything to it because I'm not going to do it anywhere near justice that you just did.
Well, I invite you always to comment. However, I respect that and I thank you because it's not easy to say those things um publicly. You know what I
No.
mean? Like I'm not like sitting here being like, "Oh, like I can't wait to talk about how I was like drinking too much White Claw during my divorce and I felt like I aged 20 years over the course of 6 months." Like that doesn't make me happy to talk about, but it also feels kind of good to share because who the heck out there is listening to this right now who might feel the same way? Like people get divorced all the time. It sucks. It is a terrible experience. And so if anybody out there is listening to what I'm saying and resonating with that, feel free to hit me up, propagandipod@gmail.com. You can talk my ear off about it. Like it's all good. I'm here for you because I get what it means, and that's what this lyric in the song made me think about.
And while you're at it, you can join our Discord because it's full of like empathetic, caring people.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Join our Discord. Email me, or DM me for the link to the Discord invite. We're having a blast over there still, man. It's been a few months and it keeps going strong. I had a really busy couple of weeks at work. I got a lot of good things going on at work, but I'm very hectic and busy. So I haven't been quite as active this past week. But you guys have now kept it going even when I don't log in nonstop. And that to me is the sign of a healthy, fantastic community that I can dip out for a couple hours and knock out some work stuff. And like you guys keep on rocking. Like
Yeah,
love it.
it's awesome.
So we've got these next lines. Uh, there are things that just can't be reversed. Time can be your savior or your curse. Whispered under your breath, screamed out in rage, temporary lapse, or terminal state.
So I think this like the first part of that lyric, if this was 2004, you'd be having people with that first lyric as their MSN Messenger name.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I've got like this song asks about like the temporary versus permanent state of living in in a way, right? If we're thinking about like alcoholism or addiction in general, like since that is what Todd mentioned in the interview, I looked up a bit of 2024 data related to Alcoholics Anonymous, which I found was interesting. Um, the Alcoholics Anonymous Big Book touts about a 50% success rate, stating that another 25% remain sober after relapses. A study conducted by Alcoholics Anonymous in 2014 showed that 27% of the more than 6,000 members who participated in the study were sober for less than a year. So for some, it is not a terminal state. So I enjoyed finding some data directly related to this line because I felt that that was just, kind of a cool thing to see how that goes.
Oh, so they're touting a 50% success rate. What do you think Scientology touts as their success rate for the same thing?
100.
100%.
Yeah, yeah, I can only presume it's 100 because there can be no room for failure in something where methods uh of, help are so essential to the teachings of that particular practice. Um, and I've stayed away from that topic pretty carefully on my other podcast about religion. But yeah, there's some interesting resources out there about that. So yeah, I'm not going to go any further into that one though, because that I feel like I'm putting that vibe into the universe to where they're going to find me now and they're going to want to talk to me, and I don't want any part of that.
Oh God, I drove through Gold Base one time. I was like, I gotta cover up my plates. I'm terrified.
Yeah, yeah. So we've got a riff return, and then it says exposed in anger and tragedy amidst our failure, all the things that you give, everything that you take, and the means that you use. So it talks about like the methods of the person to break out in anger, right? It talks about what the ways they use to control the people around them in those moments. And the ways that people hurt the ones they love is such a documented phenomenon. But I like this line, all the things that you give, everything that you take, and the means that you use, because it's like, how is this person hurting him? What are the identifiable trends of behavior? Like Todd talked about some of the things that his dad would do to him and his brother in the interview. And those are like what I'm saying, like the means that you use. It's like those moments that Todd was talking about in the interview where he was like, his dad would like start fights with people in public and then expect Todd to back him up. Like that is a means to drag somebody into a painful cyclical cycle. You know what I mean? So that's what I think that Todd is kind of referring to in that moment.
Yeah, and that's so sad, man.
It is. It really is. And, um, you know, Todd's been through a lot, and the fact that he's willing to talk about it is really amazing to me, because who knows out there, who knows how many people are out there who love propaganda, who respect the work and the art that Todd does, and then can make a connection with him based on what he's telling from the stories about his own painful experiences in his life. That might be genuinely helpful to somebody in the same situation as Todd, but maybe years younger. Maybe they can hear Todd talk about it and they can like envision their own path with a toxic elder in their life and see like, okay, this is the road that Todd traveled with his own dad. Here's my situation right now. I'm 17, I'm 20. What is the path that I'm going to travel? Am I going to travel one similar to Todd? Am I going to take a slightly different route? So Todd being willing to talk about it publicly is really cool because it can help people envision their own futures if they're dealing with something similar.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. Todd Kowalski is a national treasure.
He is. I'm almost like jealous in this moment that you're Canadian and I'm not, because I can't say he's a national treasure for me because he's not from where I'm from.
Yeah, he if I like I let's put Todd Kowalski on money.
I'm good with it. I'm good with it. Well, somebody in his band has already been voted worst Canadian, which I think is really funny. So then we have that 15-second break where it's just Chris riffing, man. Like like it's so amazing. It's 15 seconds of just rock.
Oh, and like not just like average rock. Like that's a hard 15 seconds.
Oh yeah. But then it slows down. It gives us a little breather where there's a slow breakdown riff where Todd sings, "Do you feel power when others fall? Do you feel compulsed to cringe with disgust? The days that you hate yourself, are they days you seek a victim for your spite? Do you find yourself in need of someone to crush beneath your feet?" To me, this is the most important section of lyrics in the song. When I think about a person who hurts people, I feel as if it's often just an attempt to drag people down to the level they know that they are stuck at. They know that other people are not stuck at the level down with them, so they need to cling to something that they believe that they can be good. So they, instead of like elevating themselves, they drag other people down, right? Everybody in their lives has probably had an experience related to that exact topic. And if you're stuck at a low level and unable to muster the strength to climb out, I can imagine that it would be a frustrating experience that would make a person angry. And when you're incapable of climbing out, but other people want to help you, but you can't help them, the reaction to push them away seems like a logical step. This saying, "we hurt the ones we love," exists for a reason, like I said earlier. And I found a big study in 2014 about aggression in an article called Everyday Aggression Takes Many Forms. And so to me, what Todd is talking about is like this concept of everyday aggression. Um, Men are far more likely to carry out acts of aggression with intent to harm in some way, whether emotionally or physically. And these are the types of things that get overlooked as normal with a sorry the next day, like from the News for a Name song, or so. And since these people have to be in our lives in some way, but not all circumstances are they allowed to remain. But for the most part, these people are in our families. Um, and we see ourselves as stuck with them, right? People who are being hurt by somebody see themselves as being stuck with this person. So hurting people we love is an easy outlet to not face many real consequences as well, because we put the onus on the other people to either harm back or stick up for themselves, which is hard work and takes bravery. And often, like, the aura of fear is so great that sticking up for oneself in the face of a hostile and unpredictable person is hard to do, and they get away with dragging people down to their level for years on end. So that to me is like a really important, like, kind of takeaway lesson for me, is like how people hurt people that are close to them, and how it actually puts the responsibility on the person being hurt to stick up for themselves, be brave, and retaliate, because that is not easy stuff.
No, and when you're kind of going through that, it kind of got me thinking about how when, someone is down and like they're not able to get the help to get out, but like, you can see how in those situations the person that is down may think that them not accepting the help or whatever is protecting the people that are trying to help, but only thus causing more like hardship. Like, so the person might think they're doing the right thing by, attempting to not have that person be more involved, but in the end it's only making the situation worse. So like even about not being able to think clearly when you're in those situations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's to think about being hurt, actively hurt, abused, taken advantage of, drugged down by somebody who is in the midst of some pure chaos. And then to think about how challenging that would be to have to stand up to that person over and over again is like really draining. And I'd
Yeah.
imagine it's so exhausting. I can't even imagine. I have no experience really with anything like this song is describing.
I had a friend that kind of dealt with a similar situation like this, and I helped out for a very long time, and just to see what the family went through on a day-to-day basis dealing with situations similar to this, it is absolutely like it tore them apart, and it was so difficult to witness. But at the end of the day, you just do what you can to support and everything. But man, like it is tough.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and then the fast part of the song comes back in, and then the last lyric, which is delivered in the absolutely unhinged vocal style that Todd talked about in the interview. This is the craziest part of the vocals. Cursing like cowards, baring your teeth, ready to strike when things go wrong. So, yeah, I love the way this line is sung, but yeah, it's really, really cool, man. Yeah, that's all I got.
Uh, I think for a song that's technically a forgotten song,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Yeah, it rips, man. How do you feel about the fact that it became Rattan Kane? Do you have a verdict on which one you like more?
I think you can like both of them. I think you can look at both of them for what they are. I don't think you have to do a one or the other situation.
Yeah,
And I'm fine with bands that have a song, but then aren't afraid to evolve that song into something else.
yeah.
Like I remember Moneen have a song that's like an instrumental on one of their records, but then they released it on another record with lyrics.
Mm,
And I just love when bands just are constantly evolving their own work.
Yeah, and Chris has actually been really cool on his Patreon about like digging up demo recordings from old sessions and playing them on the Patreon because like he'll like listen back to old demos of songs that he makes episodes about and he'll be like, "So I'm listening to this and this sounds normal, but then holy smokes, here comes this riff that we then put into this totally different song and the way that riff emerged was part of this song." So this band is constantly doing that behind the scenes in ways that we don't hear because their writing process is like so painfully laborious in their own words. But this is a really cool example of one of those. But hearing Todd's story about why this one got cut from the record, the way that he didn't like the way that the lyrics were delivered completely throughout, and he just like didn't feel like he nailed the phrasing. Um, but then to like record it anyway, and then to release it anyway, because they didn't have to release it on failed states. They could have just, kept this one in the vault. And they were like, screw it. You know what? It's a good tune. It kind of shows the metamorphosis of Rattan Cane, which is on failed states. So you have two versions of the same song on one deluxe edition. And that's pretty sweet, man. I really like the way they did this.
Yeah, and they've earned the right to honestly do whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And if they want to do that, have at it, man. Like give me alternate versions of every song.
Yeah, totally. I'm down. I would love a where quantity is job number two, volume two. You know what I mean? Give me quality volume two,
Yeah,
or quantity.
I can't wait to get that CD stuck in the CD player too.
That would be amazing. So I got some comments on YouTube, not a whole lot. There's no covers of this song. I tried to get people to make a cover of this song, and there were no takers, so there's no cover on this one. I was bummed, but is what it is. Can't win them all, even though I think this song is immensely worthy of being covered. So if anybody out there is hearing this and does wind up doing a cover, you are invited for a Days You Hate Yourself Part 2 bonus episode. If you make a cover, you are welcome here. So get on it if you're down. So a few comments from YouTube. Quote, can't believe this track got cut from the album. Shit rips. Well, it got cut from supporting cast. Next, same riff as Rattan Cane, but this song fucking rips. Totally agree. Last one, the riff in this song rips so fucking hard. See these guys tomorrow. Been waiting 15 years to see them. And that comment is from 11 years ago. So I hope that the person who wrote that did get to see Propaganda. And I really hope that they played Rattan Cane at that show so that this person could,
Hear this riff.
hear the riff because it rocks, man. And seeing Todd do Rattan Cane is so powerful live. It would be really fascinating if one day they did this version just for the heck of it. But that's a lot of work, man. When you like internalize a song as Rattan Cane, going back to something like that would be just such a mental shift that I could see them like fucking it up live,
No, they got to do them back to back.
Turn it into a supercut.
Yeah.
Dude, Todd does the Rattan Cane outro scream. Oh, and then it just goes right into those intro drums for the Days You Hate Yourself. Whoa.
Guys, come on.
Do it. All right.
We're giving you gold here.
All right. Steve, I don't know what my ranking is on this one. Rate the song. Give me a ranking out of 5.
I think this is a 4 out of 5.
Okay. I was gonna go with a 3. Because I'm just still mentally processing the fact that it's like the same riffs from Rattan Cane, but I was gonna go with 2 originally, but like it's so good.
It's so good.
So I'm gonna go middle ground, 3 out of 5. So you can go 4 out of 5, and we'll average that between us. So 3.5 out of 5. That's a pretty gosh darn solid Propaganda song. If you're thinking about
for a
the whole
song
catalog.
that was forgotten, that's a great rating.
Never played live, never performed again, left off the record, and yeah. So we got a good one here, folks. Yeah, Steve, any other takeaway thoughts on this one, or are you feeling pretty good about it?
I feel pretty good. It was nice to fire off another episode. It'd been a little bit. Hopefully we can get one done soon, and maybe we'll get that AMA episode done eventually. There's
yeah,
a lot of questions. I feel like we should do that one in person together, but
I would love that. That sounds like super fun because I feel like the vibe for if you've listened to any of my in-person episodes lately out there, listeners, you'll notice that the vibe for an in-person interview is super fun. Like my episode with Griffin Coyne from the Buffalo hardcore band Selfish Act was recorded in person. My interview with Zach from Del Paxton, another great Buffalo band that I love, recorded in person. So those ones have a good vibe. So I feel like an AMA would be a good selection for an in-person one.
I think it would be hilarious. So I after my trip to Boston, I have in 2 weeks, I have to get my passport renewed because it's coming up for expiry. So depending on how long that takes, um,
Well,
you
I'd
know,
prefer to come there. We
okay.
gotta you come here all the time. We gotta stop messing around and we gotta get me over there because this is ridiculous that you keep coming here and I never come there. It like makes me feel terrible. But in my defense, I also have a kid.
You got to try out this Murphy bed. It's not going to
Bro.
Murph itself.
Dude, I'm gonna Murph the hell out of that thing. All right, listeners, thank you so much for sticking with us on this The Days You Hate Yourself episode. It has been an absolute delight having Todd back on the podcast. Steve, as always, love hanging out with you, man. You're my bestie. I'm so glad that we're here doing this project together. You can find us on Instagram at PropagandyPod. You can find us on our Discord. Message me for the details or an invite link. You can email me at propagandypod@gmail.com. Look forward to doing this again with you, Steve. Talk to you later.
Later.